Have you ever found yourself saying yes to something, and then, like, just moments later, you're thinking, why did I actually agree to that?
Oh, absolutely. Or you see someone else just smoothly convince someone, and
Yeah.
you wonder how they do that.
Exactly. What are those hidden things guiding our choices? Often we don't even see them happening. Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really getting into the work of social psychologist Robert Cialdini, specifically his 6 universal principles of persuasion.
Yeah, these are foundational.
Right. And our mission, really, for you listening, is to unpack these powerful mechanisms. They're often working under the surface. We want you to get how they work, but also, maybe more importantly, spot when they're being used on you.
hmm Whether it's, fair persuasions or maybe something a bit more manipulative.
Exactly. We're pulling from Cialdini's big book, Influence, The Psychology of Persuasion, and also his Harvard Business Review piece, Harnessing the Science of Persuasion. I'm actually really excited for this one. These principles, they create so many aha moments. You suddenly see these hidden levers in human behavior. You'll start noticing them everywhere, I promise.
And knowing about them is just so crucial today, isn't it? With all the information, all the interactions we have constantly, it helps you understand how influence works, but also why it's just so important to be, well, aware of these basic human tendencies as you go about your day.
Okay, let's unpack the first one then. Reciprocity. This one seems simple on the surface, but it's incredibly powerful. Basically, when someone gives us something, we feel this almost instinctive need to give something back.
Right.
Think about like a free sample at the store. Suddenly you feel this little nudge, don't you? Maybe I should buy the product.
And it's that subtle pull.
Yeah, that urge to return a favor, even when you didn't ask for. That's what makes reciprocity really potent.
And it's definitely more than just trading favors, isn't it?
hmm
It taps into a really fundamental social contract. It's kind of baked into us, this natural compulsion to give back. It helps build relationships, builds trust. It creates this sort of unspoken obligation.
Obligation, that's a key word.
It is. Because that small gift or gesture, it can genuinely open the door to much bigger asks later on. We just don't like feeling indebted.
Okay, that makes sense. And feeling like you owe someone, that probably makes you more likely to stick with things too, right?
Mhm.
Which brings us to the next principle, commitment and consistency. And here's where I think it gets really interesting. Once we agree to something, even something tiny, we're way more likely to stay consistent with that first choice.
Yeah, this is the classic foot in the door idea. It's really well documented. You get someone to say yes to a very small request, first maybe signing a petition or, like you said, a free trial.
Okay.
And then they're suddenly much, much more likely to agree to a bigger related request down the line.
Why is that, though?
Well, we seem to have this powerful psychological drive. We want to keep our actions and our beliefs lined up with what we've already committed to. Even if that initial commitment was really minor, we just hate appearing inconsistent,
Mm.
especially if we've made that commitment publicly.
Mm.
Going back on our word feels wrong.
That makes sense. We want to see ourselves as consistent people. And that desire, it probably feeds into the next one, too, social proof. This is the idea that if we're not sure what to do, we look around, we see what other people are doing. It's
Mhm.
that feeling of, well, if everyone is doing it, it must be the right thing.
Yeah.
Right. But I mean, when does following the crowd become like a problem?
That's a really good question because social proof taps right into our basic human need for validation and safety in numbers. We just instinctively assume that the group knows best, especially when things are uncertain or ambiguous. We're looking for clues.
So like testimonials on a website or seeing a restaurant is packed.
Exactly. Or bestseller list, all that stuff. We look to others, especially people we think were similar to us, to figure out how we should act.
Okay, moving on to authority. We tend to trust people we see as experts, right? We're more likely to comply with them. So what does this really mean? How do we perceive that expertise? It's not always about an actual job title, is it?
No, not at all. And it's fascinating how that perception of authority gets built. Sometimes it's obvious. A doctor's coat, a professor's title,
Right, the symbols.
the symbols, yeah. Or even just someone acting really confident. But other times it's much subtler. Maybe someone uses complex jargon, or they display credentials, or they just seem incredibly knowledgeable.
Okay.
We seem to be wired to defer to people we perceive as experts,
Mhm.
which it can be super helpful if you need real guidance. But it can also be really misleading if we aren't paying attention to who that authority actually is,
Yeah.
or what their motives might be.
Right, so it's about critical thinking there. Okay, fifth principle, liking. This one feels pretty straightforward. We're more likely to say yes to people we like or people who seem similar to us.
It seems intuitive, yeah.
Feels like just a natural human thing,
Yeah.
favoring people we connect with. But you're saying the power here is maybe deeper than just friendship.
Oh, definitely. The power of just, affinity
Yeah.
and similarity. It's quite remarkable, actually. When we feel positively towards someone, maybe they complimented us, maybe we see shared interests or background or even just, similar body language.
Mm-hmm.
It just significantly lowers our guard, makes us much more open to what they're asking. It creates this unspoken connection that encourages agreement. We want to say yes to people we feel good about.
Yeah, I can see that. Okay, finally, number 6, scarcity. This is the idea that when something seems rare or limited, it suddenly becomes way more desirable.
Instantly.
That immediate appeal of something hard to get, limited edition, only 2 left in stock. Those phrases really work, don't they?
They absolutely do. And what's really powerful here is it's often about the perception of scarcity, not necessarily the reality. Just thinking something is limited or hard to get, it immediately jacks up its perceived value, and it creates a strong sense of urgency.
So it's not just about the item itself.
Not always. I mean, think about a limited edition print versus an open one. The art might be identical, but the scarce one feels more valuable. It plugs right into that fear of missing out, FOMO, right? And we're just naturally more drawn to things that seem exclusive or difficult to obtain. Our brains kind of automatically assign more value to scarcity.
Wow. Okay, so when you put all stuff together, reciprocity, commitment, inconsistency, social proof, authority, liking, and scarcity, it's actually kind of staggering how much they shape our decisions every single day.
It really is.
These aren't just like abstract theories, they're universal psychological triggers,
Yeah.
deeply embedded. They genuinely influence us, often without us realizing it.
Right. And if we try to connect this to the bigger picture, like Cialdini does so well, you see this dual nature, don't you?
Yeah.
On one hand, these principles can be used ethically, to inform people, to educate, to genuinely persuade in a positive way. That's valuable.
Okay.
But, and this is the crucial part,
Yeah.
they're also the exact tools someone might use to influence or even, manipulate us
Right.
without us being fully aware.
Right. The dark side potential.
Exactly. Which is why just recognizing them when they pop up isn't just interesting, it's really essential for navigating the world today. It's about being informed, being vigilant.
So now that you, listening, are armed with these 6 insights, maybe start thinking, how might you notice them playing out in your own daily life? In ads and sales pitches, sure, but also just in conversations with friends, family, coworkers. Where do you see them?
And what new questions does that bring up for you?
Yep.
About, real choice. How much control do we actually have over our own decisions when these forces are at play? Something to think about.